Leeds. Wilco makes a run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, my second show in 2 days. Show number 3 will be coming up later. Still not over the woo flu, but I'm getting there. It's just a little bit of a cold, people. Don't worry yourselves, bless you. The news today, Arsenal are top of the league by 4 clear points. Man City will not be going invincible yet again. No matter how much money you waste on your shitty club, you will never go invincible. Jurgen Klopp got sent off for being a knob, which is lovely. And Arsenal won away at Leeds in the scrappiest game so far for me of the season. We would possibly be lucky that we won that game. Gabriel did, and I said in the preview show yesterday, and I said on the podcast last week, Gabriel can be a liability, and he proved me right. That's the only teeny-weeny minor point about the whole of the Arsenal at the moment is Gabriel having a touch of Xhaka circa 2018-2020. So with me to discuss the game this afternoon is Deac. How you doing, Treacle? You're looking lovely tonight.
Doing all right, fella. Doing all right. Having a come down from the emotional roller coaster that the game offered me. Quite funny that I tweeted the game before where we played Bergkamp away from home, and I said that was one of the worst Arsenal performances that I've seen all season. And if we played anything like that, we would be having a tough game, if not losing it. And well, it only took one game for me to prove my tweet correct, and we really struggled against the Leeds side. Okay, we're away from home, but in the form that Arsenal are in with the quality that we've got displaying on the pitch, we should have dispatched with Leeds with quick and earnest feelings.
But
that's for sure.
A sign of a top quality team. You play bad and you still win.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. You know, when a team is playing bad and we still get the dub, that's when you get the difference.
That is the important thing. And people who don't love the Arsenal love to moan about stuff. And what were they saying about Saka for the first 6 or 7 games of the season?
Well, they were saying it was absolute dog shit. Was he got 4 goals, 4 assists?
Yeah, he didn't have much, but now he is our top goal scorer with 5 goals. He's got 4 assists. And I said to people beginning of the season when he wasn't doing much, I said, just give him a while. Martinelli for a few games, then it'll be Saka for a few games, and it'll be. And when it clicks, and when it's all of them, someone is getting a mahoosive whapping,
sure,
slapping.
Either whappings or whippings.
They're going to get chinned because when we're on form, bloody hell, we look good. But so many times in recent, any time in probably after the Invincibles to now, we'd have lost that game away at Leeds. We'd have done terrible. We'd have lost it. But this just shows up Mikel Arteta's modern Arsenal where everybody pulls together. And even, dare we say, we had the rub of the green with the referees.
I think the rub of the green was pretty balanced, if I'm honest with you. Maybe it's that Arsenal bias. Maybe I looked at it with rose-tinted glasses, but I felt like the referee was a little bit of an odd job today. Okay, there was a couple of moments where it was a little bit either way, but I feel like the refereeing and officials and everything like this country are absolutely shocking, especially with the 35-minute delay to begin the game because of tech issues. That's completely embarrassing. I can't believe that they rely on communications between visual and audio so heavily and they don't have some sort of instant backup plan. I find that completely perplexing. So I know what they had to do for good reason, but it really tells me that they're just living in the fairies and not really thinking about the overall package. And they should have come up with a backup plan to not allow that 35-minute delay. I feel like we played a minute and 9 seconds, and Ben White played a bad pass to Saka, which came off for a throw-on, and then he postponed for 35 minutes and whatnot. I feel like it killed the game even to begin with. I feel like it was detrimental. I feel like it was detrimental to Arsenal. It kind of got in our heads. I feel like it was like an old school mentality idea where we got the occasion got in our heads a little bit. And we didn't play well today. Okay, we got the W, which is absolutely fantastic, and we definitely got the rub of the green with regards to the to the penalty missed and the obviously the handball or the foul or whatever, the red card and whatnot. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But I feel like we managed to get it, but I feel like the delay may have cost us. I don't know about you, Danny, but I feel like I feel like we definitely started the game when it properly started. We were just off the kilter from the very beginning.
It was a little bit. I've never seen that before. We've played 1 minute and 11 seconds, I think we played of the game. And then if people didn't know, then the notes I made of this: full start, power cut between the referees and the VAR, wherever they've done that on the moon.
And the Hawkeye as well, apparently.
Game restarted after... It was stopped after 11 minutes. So that's a little bit weird. They went 10 minutes into the game. But then when the restart, restarted it at 1 minute and 11 seconds. So that was at 2:42. The game originally kicked off at 2:00. So why did they let it play for 11 minutes? But maybe I was dozed because I'd only just woken up from that. So was there actually 11 minutes of play? Or was they?
Yeah, they kept it rolling. They kept it rolling. They kept the game rolling because they felt like they were going to rectify the problem within 10 minutes or whatnot, but it got to 10 minutes plus, and then they ended up going, right, we're going to have to temporarily postpone to try and sort out this issue. But it just, as I said, it just blows my mind that they haven't got some sort of backup contingency plan to help them in a situation like this. It's confusing. How much money they're struck into the Prem? It's crazy.
Yeah. It's a bit weird. I don't think that's happened anywhere in football, but
I've not seen it.
No. So I don't know what have they come out of an explanation about?
Haven't seen or heard anything. The media, unfortunately, has been completely swallowed up because of the stopping of the City.
Sad times. Let's go and say hello to some of the wonderful people in the chat. There's Daniel Gordon there, friend of Chris Lodato. They're in sunny Florida. Hope the weather's nice for you. He says, "Yo, we got by with that one by the hair of our chinny chin chin. Also, we are top of the league. Lovely. Keysby Knight. I know, when was the last time we were 4 points clear at the top of the league?" Keysby says, I wait eagerly for this dribble every week. Sai is there. I had my butt clenched for the 45 and the 20 of the Liverpool game, and the last 20 of the Liverpool game. Yeah, I put it in one of our groups. I went, Liverpool going to win today before the game even started, just because I'm living in my own simulation and I've decided I'm making the rules in my simulation and we're going to win the league. So there you go. Jimmy says, top of the league to you all. Lovely. Si, 1 hour butt clenching is enough for a weekend.
The glutes are looking stellar.
Nitsu says, I would have liked the defensive shape change earlier, but Arteta nailed that change. We were very lucky too. Arteta has his ability to change the formations when needed. He's got it spot on every single time.
Yeah, but I agree with that. I was saying that the holding, because that was one of the first times we've brought in the holding moment where we're like, right, we need to hold the score, bring on Holding, Rob Holding, and shut up shop. But I feel like we waited maybe a little bit too long. But we got the W, so he got it right. But it was a little bit awkward for about 15 minutes, that's for sure. But we got as I said, we got the W.
But it's good that we've got someone as reliable as Big Bob Holding to come on and do the job.
I love it.
To do. And it makes me wonder if Tierney has a future, because at the moment, this time last year, he was our starting left back for everything. Now Zinchenko's come in and Zinchenko's the starting left back. And when Zinchenko isn't available, it seems to be that Tomiyasu, after the wonder that it was against Liverpool, Tomiyasu needs to be. So does that make Kieran Tierney our third choice left back?
It's very difficult. I said it from the beginning after seeing a few games from Zinchenko, the ability to be able to play that inverted wing back. I said at the start of the season, I felt like Tierney's definitely going to drop it because he's one of those very conventional left backs or wing back in general, where he's only got that ability to really push to the byline and very blindly put the ball into the box. He's very old fashioned. We love him as a person. We love his attitude and his mentality. We love his style, the fact he tucks his shirt in, all of those things. We love it. But unfortunately, he's a very conventional, old-school left-back. And players to have the ability to play that inverted wing-back role, especially with what Arteta wants to do, I feel like we're going to see a very topsy-turvy season from Tierney. But he needs to prove it this season anyway, regardless, because the injury last season, he's being super inconsistent like Partey, but we'll see what happens. Who knows?
It's important to have plenty of depth in the squad. And I know I haven't got show notes, people. Sometimes it gets a little bit monotonous if I just go 4th minute this, 7th minute that. So depending on who I've got on, it's easier just to talk about the game in any old order. But did you notice that Tomiyasu was doing a lot of the stuff with his left foot? Easy, no problem. I had no idea that he was so easily. There is a word for ambidextrous for feet, but it's not pedidextrous.
I thought it was just ambidextrous.
Like
Was it not?
No,
is it not just that? Oh, okay.
Separate word for when you can use both feet.
2 feet dexterous.
It was great. He'd trap the ball with his right, put it onto his left, pass it upfield, or he'd catch it with his left, put it on his right, and put it infield.
They call him the Santi Cazorla of Japanese wing backs. That's what they call him. I don't know. That's what they call him. That's what the media call him.
Calling him that? About a minute.
About 30 seconds. Listen, I only just preach what I read. That's all I'm saying.
Dan Laguna says, I am from Sweden. What is a Trikele if I spelt it right? I have got no idea what that could be, Dan. Just put a little bit more info and I'll tell you what it was. Pete Colson is there as always. Strangest game ever. Deac said the W was thing.
I probably says was
W
thing. I've got a couple of beers. So I probably did say was thing. I probably did.
He may well have done.
Who knows?
Sai says Odegaard was dead 15 minutes into the second half. Yeah, I don't. I didn't know we were talking last night in the preview show. Wonderful show with me and Jock and Richard, mainly for those two. And Jock's is a lovely man to speak to, very wise. And we went and had a look. And they were talking about the Europa League. I didn't realise that there's another stage after the group stage, another round. Normally it goes round of 32, then round of 16. Winners of the groups, of the 8 groups, go straight through to the round of 16. And then they've replaced the round of 32 with the 8 teams from the Champions League, their third place ones, and the 8 teams that are runners up in Europa League groups. And so those
this isn't always the pattern,
no, they've done it for this one season, and next season teams from the Champions League aren't dropping down into the Europa League apparently. So we need to finish top of our group. So all we need to do is have a win against PSV. PSV. And then touch of the Steve McLaren, I love it.
Yeah, you did,
yeah. And then we need to beat those because last I looked today, I think they won 6-0 again. And Gakpo is a demon of a player, and this will be a big test for him.
I've been saying it all season. He's got like double digits goals and assists. Just saying he's a good player, and he's got that height advantage as well, so you can play the ball out into. Imagine Ramsey getting on the end of, and then Gakpo's just like controlling it and playing the ball through. I'm just saying.
Patrick Carlson, I think, is also from Sweden. We've got 2 Swedes in here. It's a very wonderful country. Are Sweden at the World Cup? Because I think I may well be supporting Sweden. Oh, Norway aren't at the World Cup, are they? Which is a shame.
No, they're not.
Our captain isn't there. So I won't be supporting England. Who are you supporting at the World Cup? You don't support England, do you?
I'm going to watch it because it's football, and it's going to be around my birthday. My birthday is middle of December, so I'm going to be watching football the weekend and stuff like that. We're going to have a party around mine for a couple of days and whatnot. It's going to be good stuff. So I'm going to be watching football, but I'm just going to follow England just for England's purposes. But there isn't anyone that really. There's no teams that really grab me. No teams that have got. I liked a little bit of Norway because they were saying they were going to boycott the World Cup, and then they didn't get into the World Cup, and they were like, "Oh, we can't boycott it anymore." So I was like, "All right, fair enough."
I think San Marino are boycotting the World Cup as well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But yeah, no, I'm not going to take it too seriously like I did the Euros, where the Euro fever really gripped me. But Gareth Southgate's a bit of a mug.
He's an absolute dickhead.
Can't stand him. He's an absolute muppet. If Ben White don't get into the side, it tells me everything you need to know about the guy. The guy's an absolute joke. We scraped the Euros couple of what was it, last year? Sorry, and we were lucky to get where we were. And I feel like the World Cup's really going to show everyone how Gareth Southgate really is. I really do.
Well, for me to support the mighty England again is Southgate must go and Harry Kane must retire. Because that stat padding, penalty diving, scoring against San Marino, scumbag ruin, and I can't celebrate it.
Love a good stat pad. Love a good stat pad. Cracks me up. That's what a lot of these average players do. They just stat pad.
They do. Getting back to Patrick's point, Tierney starts on Thursday. We need rotation. Yeah,
Of course, I'm not doubting his rotational ability.
I love Tierney. I love having a Scottish player in the side.
Love him. I love his attitude. He's a really good guy. Everyone loved the Tesco plastic bag thing where he came in with his boots with no boot bag, and the fact that he tucks his shirt in. He's got that real. I love the old ways of football and the classic style of everything, and we love him for that. And I don't doubt his rotational ability, that's for sure. So yeah, we do obviously need him for Thursday, but he really needs to push on and become the starting left back for the Premier League and not the backup one for the Europa League group games.
Yeah, that is. But it may be playing on his mind. I think he'd walk into almost any Premier League starting 11 apart from probably Man City and Chelsea, because they've got. Is it Chilwell right back or left back? I never remember.
Chilwell's left back, so it's Cucurella and Chilwell. Right back today. But Cancelo is one of the best left backs right now at the moment. He's super consistent, and the goal that he scored last week was absolutely phenomenal. So
Loki says we got away with one today. A good old fashioned away win, certainly.
Agreed.
Dan the Gooner in Sweden says when you introduce your guest, she says, "Oh, hello, Treacle, Treacle."
Trickle.
It is from Only Fools and Horses, the classic, one of the greatest sitcom comedy shows ever on the BBC. And Del Boy used to refer to everyone as "Shut up, Treacle." You normally say it to women. You do not say it to men. But
Treacle is it's a bit like syrup. You put it on top of desserts. It's kind of one of those it's basically syrup. Isn't treacle basically syrup? I think it is.
They're all the same. Full of sugar.
Yeah, sure. It's a topping. It's a cream. It's like a topping of some sort that you put on cake.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I don't know.
Sweet, very sweet.
Phil says, listen on the radio. Still not sure how we got away with that. Yeah, we're going to come to how we got away with it a little bit later on. Patrick says, no World Cup for Sweden. Every player is injured anyway. And just as Zlatan made his comeback, sad times. Pete says we need to win against PSV, then a point in the remaining 2 games to ensure top of the Europa League and avoid the Champions League failures in a playoff 2-game. Oh, it's a 2-game playoff. Just go back to all the European competitions. You play one team home and away, and the winner goes through to the next round. That's what football fans want. We don't want pointless. Or I say that. Do you?
Yeah,
like it used to be.
If it isn't broke, don't fix it. I don't know where we're going with all this. I find it perplexing. This is what the fuck's going on.
You
right
like
now.
the group stages, or you prefer the 1-against-1?
Oh well, no, just keep it original group stage and then 1v1 after that.
No, just 1v1 the whole time, all the way
through. 1v1 all the whole time,
like the FA Cup.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sure.
Not the Europa
but
League.
You've got. But the problem is with the Champions League and Europa League and stuff, you've got seeding with regards to the placement in the league, depending on the team. So you can't just go. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be fair. What would be the purpose of finishing 3rd or 5th or whatever? You just go in wherever you're going in. Really
I'd also have it. Only the champions of each country would get into the Champions League.
Oh,
spread the money around a little bit more.
Champions, and that's it. So there's no incentive to second spot.
Oh yeah, you got the UEFA Cup as I'm bringing it back, and the Cup Winners' Cup.
That is a huge drop off. That is a huge drop off.
So we'll be playing Glentoran and Kusilati.
That would be the shortest Champions League. It'd be like a couple of weeks, and that'd be it.
Be Real Madrid smashing the Finnish champions 14-0 home and away all the way to the semi-final.
That's literally what you would see.
Benzema scored 112 goals this season in the Champions League. I don't think
in 7 games. He does it in 7 games because that's how many games there were.
Oh dear. So Dan has put. So why did you call your guest syrup?
He's calling me sweet. That's like, oh, well, you're right, babe. You're right, sweet.
Yeah, because it's there. You go. Look, Pete Colson's got it there. Hello, treacle. It's
term of endearment. It's term of endearment.
Hello, sausage.
Yes,
that's another one. It's just a stupid way.
It's a cheeky little name. Yeah.
English people say things to each other that.
That's it.
Yeah, I suppose it used to be in the old days. A bloke would go up to a lady and say "Hello, treacle," and he meant it because she was sweet and lovely. But you do that now, and you'd get a stiletto in the eye.
That's You don't approach. Never approach a woman.
No, just don't even look at them.
Never approach them. Never communicate with them. Never talk to them. You're not allowed to do that. You get a slap on the hand if you go to even engage in conversation.
Yeah, and I know this because my daughter is 24, and if any men talks to her, she will wrestle them to the floor
There you
and
go.
have a restraining
Proof in the
order put
pudding.
on them.
Proof in the pudding, treacle.
Paul says, we are top of the league, top of the league. Petito in New York says, Spurs fans are rattled by our win today. Budikan, we need more players in January, and we won lucky. Madness of a game. Certainly is. Dan has got it. And help you out, Dan. Phil has put, a syrup is what Conti wears on his head. Syrup is also syrup of fig, which is a medicine. Help you poo, and it means rhyming slang for a wig. My mum, because my mum doesn't speak English properly, she sent me down when I was a story nothing to do with football. She sent me down to Superdrugs in Huntingdon once when I was about 10 and said, "Could you go and get me some syrup of figs?" Now, what she meant was syrup of figs. I spent all day going around Huntingdon High Street asking for syrup of figs. Bloody woman comes to his country. She don't even speak the fucking language. Oh dear, to get a little giggle about that. So that's my mother from Ireland. Peter's put a question in there. We'll save that for later. Pete, lovely. Right, let's get back into the actual game. Looking at the lineups, is that the future of our lineup? Do you think playing 4 centre backs as a back four? Because you looking at that, we've had 4 clean sheets in the last 6 games. We've beaten Spurs, we've beaten Liverpool, we've had a tough away win here. We went and beat Bodo Glimt that had been unbeaten at home for 14 games, which is one game away from equaling Barcelona's record. We are on a really decent run. Ramsdale has been playing really well. So for me, I think he saved us today. Turner's been playing really well in the cup competitions. According to WhoScored.com, Gabriel got man of the match at centre-back. I don't think he did. And Saliba only got a 6.4. That's why this website should just be dragged into a bush and beaten to death. But what's your thoughts on playing those back 4 as 4 central defenders? Because it does mean we're a little bit less mobile down the wings, doesn't it?
That's the thing. Arteta doesn't want that overall mobility down the wings. He wants that. He wants that ability to be able to play those inverted wing backs. The reason why we're playing 4 centre backs with White and Tomiyasu is because they've got that ability to come inside to play that inverted wing back role, which is what Arteta clearly wants. If Zinchenko was fit, he would definitely be playing today. As much as Tomiyasu played a just unbelievable game against Liverpool with keeping Salah in his pocket and getting him substitute before the 70th minute was just, I still can't get over how well he played. And today, once again, he proved right that he doesn't really put a foot wrong, which is brilliant because he's got 2 feet, a left and a right foot. As I said, he's the Santi Cazorla of Japanese wingbacks. But that's the reason why we're playing centre backs at right back and left back, because they've got that ability. So I'd be interested to see next. Obviously, it's not a priority in the January transfer because we need to be going out and buying ourselves a winger to be able to relieve Saka of the duty of playing nearly 50 games in a row.
Yeah,
whatever it is, it's absolutely phenomenal.
I think it's 51 games in a row, and I think they said Gabriel has played 49 in the league.
It's crazy. I just perplex it. We're so blessed that he's built like a tank, like Granit Xhaka. We need that ability as well to offer something different as well when Partey gets injured, because Lokonga just isn't it. The guy needs a loan. If we bought ourselves a midfielder, I would see Lokonga going out on loan if Elneny was kept fit as well.
Good loan for him would be to Burnley, because he's manager and elect. Vincent Kompany is currently manager of Burnley and top of the championship.
Well, there you go. You haven't been thinking about that. You haven't been thinking about that, have you? But that's exactly right. He needs to go out on a loan, and something like Burnley would be a phenomenal choice. But we need to be doing that. But in the summer, I'd be interested to see who Arteta goes in for an actual fully fledged right back, because I feel like Tomiyasu could definitely fulfill the backup role across the back, but not be the starting right back. So a right back is what we would need to push for in the summer as a luxury, like a right. This is the priority now. I'd be interested to see, because I feel like you'd go for someone that's got the ability to come inside as well. So look out for players that have got a good left peg as well as a right peg, because I think he's falling in love with that idea. That's for sure.
It's important to highlight just how good Leeds are, stubborn they are at home. First game of the season, beat Wolves 2-1. Second game of the season, beat Chelsea 3-0. Then they drew 1-1 with Everton, and then they drew 0-0 with Aston Villa. We're the first team to go there and beat them at home this season. That is very important. Even if you go and have a look at in some of the cup competitions, to beat Barnsley 3-1 at home in the League Cup, and they had a couple of pre-season friendlies, smashed Calgary. Calgary? I know it's the Italian
Allegri,
one.
the Italian team. Calgri, is it?
I'm thinking of Canada, isn't it? Calgary.
You're thinking of
Cagliari. Smashed them 6-2, and
been there. And cold. It's been there. It's cold.
Not a happy place for me. So their home form would have suggested that that going there and getting a win would have been really hard. But for the performance they put out, and the point I'm getting to is a quote here from Aaron Ramsdale on Twitter. And breathe! ! Football wise, we were nowhere near it today, but that grit and determination was top. Huge credit to the fans. Hopefully, you have nails left. So when you've got him coming out, and he had a magnificent game today, didn't he? I think he saved us on 2 or 3 occasions when they were through on goal.
Man of the match.
Yeah,
I think he's man of the match. I think Martinelli had a great game as well. He's tracking back. There was a lot of moments there where his tracking back was just phenomenal. I feel like he really saved us in a lot of dire situations. It was a game where we were fighting ourselves as well as Leeds. Leeds are obviously, as you said, they're a decent side. March is definitely playing them in the right tune, and today's pressing really showed that they've got the ability. I really like Rodrigo. I think he's a good player. I think I like Harrison as well. Sinistero, he played phenomenal today. I like Leeds. They've got some really, really talented players. I was following Rodrigo with my fantasy team this season, and then he got the dislocation of the shoulder, which kind of kept him out, which made him load of people drop him from their fantasy team. But he would be in the majority of fantasy teams because he's got that ability to come in on his left and put the ball into the back of the net. So we had a lot of moments where it was clenching bum time, and but a very tough game overall. But yeah, Leeds aren't the old school of Leeds. They're a team that can play the ball around and ping it about with great ease, which is what they showed today.
I saw that young man come on, number 10, Somerville. Never heard of him. Apparently he's Dutch. They got him from Feyenoord, and he is only 20 years old. He looked really good.
Yeah.
And there was one of the players you said, Sinistra.
Sinistero or Sinistra.
Yeah, he looked really good cutting in as well. Someone asked us a question which I think is relevant now. I think it was Phil Macker. He says, having listened on the radio, can you explain how Leeds got through on goal so often, yet we didn't change anything to stop them? I think that was mainly in the second half, wasn't it? We really struggled for about the last half hour of the second half.
Yeah, I feel like one of these days. I feel like this game was a situation where the inverted wing backs ended up being a detriment towards us. I feel like there was a lot of balls played down the right wing and the left wing in the second half when it came to coming to attack us. So we saw a lot of freedom down the wings with a lot of dangerous balls cut back into the box. As much as I love the inverted wing back role, it took Arteta a very long time to bring on Tierney, to bring that conventional left back ability into play, and luckily we managed to get through by the skin of our teeth. But yeah, today the tactical change was brought in quite late, as we still managed to obviously get the points. But I feel like inverted wing backs really we suffered today, and it was shown by the ability of Leeds and being able to catch us on the counter. And then in the second half they kept the ball really, really well. We just were knocked out of sorts, and we couldn't really get ourselves back into it. I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's got anything to do with maybe the start of the game and the pressure of the pause for over 30 minutes. Maybe that, as I said, the atmosphere and the whole atmosphere, the whole idea of the situation kind of got the better of us. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I think also looking at the fact that normally if we would have had someone like Tomiyasu at right back, and we'd have had Tierney or Zinchenko at left back, the point in the field where the Leeds wingers would have met them would have been more about the halfway line. And it wasn't. It was more in the last quarter, last third of the field. So that's how they're getting all that way down there. And then they're getting the block and then struggling to get through. And then they were doing what Liverpool were doing, where they were putting a diagonal ball straight across the front of our players and trying to cut people out like that. And there was a lot of people passing the ball to each other. Partey had this a few times where the ball would come to him, he'd have a sloppy first touch, and then he'd lose the ball again, and they'd run back and get it again, and all these things just all came together. And bringing on Bamford, who is a hell of a player, but I mean, my God, he's so injury prone. Arsenal should sign him straight away, because he is an absolute nightmare for getting injured. But as soon as he came on, he got that early penalty, which was apparently my stream had gone off, so I didn't see what the penalty was. But according to the radio, it was the ball hit Saliba's arm, which isn't the first time that's happened this season for centre backs, where you're getting penalties all over the place. And then he took the penalty and he went to Ramsdale's left to Bamford's right, and he put it wide, but Ramsdale had that corner covered. When Ramsdale dived down, back of his hand was against the bottom left-hand corner of the post. So even if he'd have tucked it in at the right angle, I think Ramsdale would have got to it. And that was about 2 or 3 times that Ramsdale saved us, and he would have saved that. So what's your thoughts on the 2 penalties, or didn't you see it?
I sent you a picture just now on Twitter, so I don't know if you want to grab that up and just chuck it up on the screen. I managed to get a grab from the play up until the moment of the penalty that was given against Saliba for the handball, which I feel like was unlucky. Okay, we've seen him given this season, that's for sure, but I feel like it was unlucky. But there was a moment up until the play that I feel like VAR should have stepped in. It even showed it in the replay of the actual moment of the said foul, which I was able to grab it from. So I'm a little bit confused. So this is the ball being played out here out to the right hand side. You can see that White, and I think what is that? Is that Saliba? I think that might be Saliba holding the line, and you see the Leeds player clearly offside here. And this was in the build up to the penalty that Bamford ended up missing. So I'm confused. Can someone give me an answer as to what consistencies? And this was shown in the replay up until the moment. So this was broadcasted on television, not even in real time, but even in a replay. That's how I was able to get this grab. I'm confused. Is that offside or is that not offside? And the linesman's in line with the attacking player. It's not like he's not in line with anyone else. He's following this game very, very closely, and it's not been given an offside. The VAR goes back and gives the penalty. I thought if this was Arsenal, in Arsenal's situation, I feel like we can all agree that we wouldn't be getting the penalty. We would be getting the offside.
Yeah, there's been a lot of problems going over the last few weekends of dodgy calls, and they go back and look. But as we saw today with the Liverpool-Man City game, they are changing their minds, and they are disallowing stuff and moving stuff off. And for us to move on to the Gabriel penalty, where it was the first time you see it, you think, what the hell are you doing? He's gone full Xhaka. He's been pulled down. He should have left it, but he didn't. As he fell down, he kind of retaliated with his legs, but luckily he missed. And then the Leeds player made the most of it.
It was Bamford again. Again. He came on and pantomime villain, penalty miss, and his attitude, and then obviously that situation with Gabriel.
And the referee went and said, right, red card, penalty. And then for him
it was the linesman that called it. It was the linesman that called it, which is really annoying. I find that frustrating more than anything as well, when a linesman gets involved, when it's not his job. It's like the referee, calling the offsides. Why didn't the linesman see the initial push from Bamford or the initial interaction? He obviously wanted to try and get the best out of Gabriel, and that's the reason why he reacted really badly. And I've said this to you before on this podcast myself, that Gabriel at some point this season is going to cost us big. And he got away with it today. But as you said at the very start of the pod, there's going to be a moment when we need to really start thinking about an alternative here. Is this going to be a moment where we need to bring in a Tomiyasu at left centre-back? We really need to start thinking about this, because Saliba at some point is going to, and he had a good game, but you can have a great game and still give away a penalty. Like, it's still a possibility. And I feel like that was definitely an opportunity for him to do today. I'm glad that the referee went and watched it. I was waiting for it to be called as a penalty, which is what we're used to seeing. But the fact that he rescinded the red card and turned it to a yellow card, but he didn't give Bamford a yellow card. So that kind of goes against the whole idea of the whole note of emotion in the first place. If he feels like Gabriel was pushed into that situation, then why wasn't the yellow card given to Bamford for his enactment into the situation? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Glad the
Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies. I don't know.
Was cancelled, and I mean, how often do you see a red card altered? Almost never. The amount of luck we have had with that, and him missing the first penalty, and then Gabriel giving away the second penalty. Like Don One says, I think Gabby had a good game up to that point, and people will make mistakes. And go, at the moment, we've played 13 games this season and won 12 of them, and there will be a patch where we're going to go into a patch of 4 or 5 games and we'll lose a couple and we draw one and then we draw another one and then we go, we haven't won a game in 4 games. That is going to happen this season. And that will be, like today, a real test of the team unity and of Arteta's tactics and how the players deal with stuff like this. Because there's no way we're going to go the rest of the season without losing a game. We may get knocked out of the FA Cup and then the League Cup and then other things like that. But then we just need to look back at times like this and go, what an unbelievable start to the season. When would you have thought that we'd have gone 12 wins out of 13 from the start of the season before the season started?
I feel like we had a great summer, Danny. I feel like we had a great summer, but I definitely didn't think we'd be doing as well as we have been, that's for sure. I think winning the league or being successful when it comes to being a football club, I think it's not about how you win a game. It's about how you bounce back from a loss or bounce back from a draw. That shows how you win titles. Because as you said, you're not going to go through the season unbeaten. That's completely it's an anomaly. It's an anomaly, and it's not going to be it's not going to be repeated. City have been proven once again that they're not going to be doing anything that the Invincibles have become, and that's just is what it is. So as I said, it's not about how you win games. It's about how you bounce back from a loss or a draw. And today we played shit. Leeds played brilliantly, played us off the park, but we still managed to get that goal that Saka scored from an impossible angle.
Yeah, it's going to talk about that now. The only note I made from the game is I'm still not even sure how he did it. Up at 34th minute, Saka goal. Their right back, this is what what their right back did was the kind of stuff you expect to see in FIFA the day it's released before they've got a patch going on it.
You mean left back?
No, their right back. Their right back hoofed it from the right back position all the way across to the other side of the field to their left back.
No, that was Rodrigo. That was Rodrigo. That was Rodrigo.
Absolutely mental.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Why he would do that? It was almost like he was trying to clear it into Rowe's head.
Spread the play. He's just spreading the play, and it was just a shit pass from Rodrigo.
And then Saka went for it, and then the ball came down, and then it landed at Odegaard, who put it through to Saka, and Saka went, I'm having a run on this. So he goes headed towards the goal at such a narrow angle.
It was heavy. I thought the pass was heavy.
Yeah.
I thought the pass was heavy.
There was no way you're going to get that. So he ran to the keeper, spanked it, and with his right foot,
weak foot,
past the keeper at the far post. I mean, if that hasn't got Paul Daniels written all over it, I've got no idea what is, or the American equivalent to someone who does wonderful magic. Has anybody even in the chat got any explanation of how he managed to do that, or have you? Because it's unbelievable.
Do you know what I said? Do you know what I said before he buried it? I literally verbalized out loud. I said, wrong pass. I said, wrong pass to Odegaard. I was like, heavy, not the right pass. And he rifles it into the roof of the net. The irony is that obviously Gabriel Jesus had a chance earlier on from that angle. I'm pretty sure it was from a corner or something like that, where he had a chance to be able to rifle it in the net from that kind of angle, and he missed it. And I was like, oh, well, we're not scoring. We're not scoring there. I agree there's poor goalkeeping involved as well. But from that angle, I was literally gobsmacked.
You could have scored from that. How?
Poor goalkeeping, but he did that. But I feel like he's done unlucky as well. He did the right thing. He blocked off the near post. He didn't want to be beaten near post. He wanted to offer Saka out to the back post. And Saka was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to just rifle this above your head. So it's unfortunate goalkeeping more than I feel like it's poor goalkeeping. He did the right thing. There you go. That's a better angle. Wow. He did the right thing. He covered his near post, which is what you need to be doing as a keeper. You need to be offering out wide so you can get your body across. But Saka didn't do near or wide. He just went top. And, those sorts of defying logic and stuff, those sorts of goals are a special one in a million kind of goals. And, he's got us out of 2 games in a row now with with quite fluky goals. One based on pure luck, and this one based on pure talent. So yeah, thank God he scored, because it definitely would have been a 0-0 game, that's for sure.
Like you're saying, back-to-back games now where he's saved us. That first one was just against Bodo, was just a bounce back off him and then went in. And then that one, so I'm just going to have a look at the goal here. I can't share it with you, but Odegaard puts it through. You were screaming bad ball. And then how? He gets it, puts it in the far corner. Unbelievable.
I thought it was a heavy pass. I don't know.
Yeah,
here we are.
It was a heavy pass because he had to chase it. And I think that helped him with the amount of power that he was just got on. He just gone, fuck it, I'm going to spank this, have a go. I'm not even sure if he even curled it.
I think he just knuckled the shit out of it, I feel. He knuckled the shit out of it, and it just hit the roof of the net, and it was just a moment where it was an audible gasp for me. I was like,
that sums up Arteta's Arsenal, doesn't it?
Yeah. Getting the win against all odds today was definitely something that I want to get used to see when it comes to the Arteta's army.
So where are we up to? Don One says, oh no, it's a bit higher than that. Don says Saliba had a howler, but nobody's talking about it because we're not here to moan anymore. We had a little moan about Gabriel and we're moving on. We can only have one moan about this wonderful team at a time. Bob Lex, hello, Mr. Bob. Happy Invincible Day, everybody. Hey, Avon, lovely goal. Don One, Saka goal was crazy, especially from that angle. Pete says, has anybody said Happy Invincibles Day yet? It always gets worth celebrating, guys. Sai says, if we lose another game this season, I'm back to spreading the Arteta out gospel.
Another game this season? Oh, come on.
Patrick says, poor goalkeeping. Avon says, Saka has convinced me he'll go low with all the misses. Then he roofs one. Amazing. Sky is there. Weighed that pass brilliantly.
Oh, of course it was brilliant. But I listen. I'm being honest. I didn't need to tell you that piece of information. I could have just been really boastful and go, that was perfect. I verbally said it was perfect. But I'm being honest. I felt like it was a heavy pass, but Saka just really made the best out of a situation. And his talent speaks volumes, doesn't it? Jesus Christ, what a player. He's going to sign a contract, mate. He's going to sign. And Saliba and Martinelli. They're all going to sign.
Need to. Sky says he is Norwegian, so he is biased. We've got plenty of Scandinavians in here tonight, which is lovely to see.
Love it. They got a good Scandi.
Where is it?
Wait.
There you go, Arnie. Arnie's from Iceland.
Is Norwegian Scandinavian?
Scandinavia is Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, I think.
That's it. It's Finland that's not Scandi, right?
And nor is Iceland because it's miles away. But you can
get away. I couldn't remember which one it was.
I don't think they'll care.
Who's owned? Aren't they owned by another country?
Who, Iceland?
Yeah,
they're owned by B-Jams. No one's going to get
Greenland? What about Greenland? Is that Sweden?
Well, Greenland has no green. They were sneaky.
I know it's the other way around. It's very,
no, don't come here. It's all ice. It's not. There's trees. I don't know. It's all the Vikings. Don't muck with them. Muck around with them.
That's it.
Sky says we're 11 points in front of 5th place, doing great. We certainly are. What other things about the game do you want to mention? If you even look at the stats from the game, total shots, they had 16, we had 9. Both had 4 on target. They had 5 shots off target. We only had 2. Shots blocked, 7 for us. They had 7 blocked, and we had 3 blocked. So we blocked all of ours.
I have no clue. I've got some stats here on Sky Sports with regards to average ratings for players, if you want these.
Yep.
Ramsdale, for me, as you said, man of the match performance.
Definitely.
He got himself a 9. White got himself a 6. I feel like, once again, he got beaten a few times, but, we can only ask so much from a centre-back that's playing at right-back when being asked to play an inverted wing-back role. So, I think that's quite difficult. Saliba on a 5. I do feel like Saliba had a bad game today. We're not in that mindset this season, which I feel like it's got definitely something to do with the fact that we're doing so well, that we don't lambast a player when they're doing something wrong. We try and boost them up a little bit more, which is definitely showing signs of Arsenal. I've never seen Arsenal, for example, when we concede a goal in some of the games this season, we've bounced back within a minute or two. I feel that's got a lot to do with the fact that our mentality has changed within the fan base as well as the club. Gabriel on an 8. I feel like that's maybe a 7. I don't know. I think an 8's maybe a little bit too high. Tomiyasu on a 6. I feel like that's once again with the White situation. He's being caught unstuck. Partey on a 7. Xhaka on a 6. I think Xhaka was quiet today. I feel like we didn't have that passing ability that normally offers. I feel like we were quashed out of the game in the middle of the park. Odegaard had a 7. I feel like he was our only dangerous player when it came to attacking ability. Saka on an 8. Obviously, he got ourselves that goal. Jesus, I feel like was just on par with Saliba. Sky Sports have given Jesus a 6, but I feel like he may have been a 5. I feel like we probably saw the worst game in an Arsenal shirt for Gabriel Jesus. And I'm not going to jump on the guy's back. The guy's been phenomenal for us, and he's definitely changed his football club. But we've definitely seen a game with Gabriel Jesus on the back of an Arsenal shirt that he's going to be wanting to forget sooner rather than later. Martinelli coming in with a 7. I feel like that 7 is confident towards his defensive abilities today. I feel like his tracking back moments were the reason why he got such a decent rating. I don't know how you feel about those ratings, Danny, and how do you feel about the substitutions that were brought into play?
Yeah, the substitutions saved the game for me. Vieira, I expect a little bit more from him. Like you're saying, Gabriel only had one shot in the entire, and Jesus only had one shot in the entire game. But I don't think we went there and to set up, because we knew the way they play and we knew the way that they have their home form and they've conceded the least number of goals at home in the Premier League. And so I think the formation was sent there to attack down the wings, keep a solid back 5. Like you're saying, Xhaka was quiet. Partey was a little bit quiet to stay deep, block stuff off, and try and win by 1 goal. That's the kind of feeling I got. So it wasn't an interesting game to watch. A little bit boring, a little bit frustrating. Jesus, you see, you can tell he's getting frustrated by the more positions he is seeing, where his left wing is out on the right wing, he's dropping deep, he's making runs. And then even when Nketiah came on, and he came on in the 82nd minute, not enough time to really do anything, but he wasn't really able to get much out of it either. But Leeds don't come to play goal-scoring, attacking football. They'd have been quite happy there to win 1-0, and I think that reflected in our team.
Yeah, they came to just suffocate the game, didn't they? They weren't there.
That's all they can do when you're bottom of the league and you're doing terribly.
Sure,
they're 15th.
Yeah, they were very close to getting themselves a point with the Bamford miss and then the Gabriel situation. They suffocate games. They grab hold of games and take the life out of them. They don't play possession based football, attacking football, or really defensive football. It's not even really negative. It's very just neutral football. I think about it all the time that I'm blessed to be supporting Arsenal, because you see some great football being played. I'd hate to be one of the supporters that has to watch a football team that plays fucking
every week.
Just every week you have to watch them and they play so fucking passive aggressive. You're like,
Burnley Stoke, isn't it? Burnley Stoke, all them, West Brom.
So as much as they played us off the park, it's boring to fucking watch. It's so boring. It's such passive.
Well, we had to go there and play their type of football. We couldn't play our type of football because they wouldn't let us.
Yeah,
it shows the adaptability of our team to go there and match them.
Yeah, it's boring. It's really boring football to watch. I think we're blessed as Arsenal fans to be able to watch a team that plays so well, but also plays so expressively, where we just play the ball over the park and we have some really great interactions with the players, and it's just enjoyable. I feel like I think we're blessed in that regard.
But at the end of the proverbial day, because it nearly is the end of the day, this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mums and dads, cats and dogs, is the league table. Arsenal are top after 10 games with 27 points. I can't lean that far. 27 points. We are 4 points ahead of Man City and Spurs. We are 8 points ahead of Chelsea. We are 9 points ahead of Man United, and we are 14 points ahead of Liverpool. I mean, that's all you need to know, isn't it? Magnificent start to the season. One dodgy game.
Did you see the Sky Sports thing the other day? Was it yesterday? Where they put up the table of the Prem, And they normally do the top 10 and then 11 to 20, 10, 10. They did 11 because they had to get Liverpool in there. They did the top 11 teams.
That is the Scouse Mafia. They are everywhere. We're not in the bottom half.
No, they're eighth now. They managed to get themselves a victory against City, and as much as it's detrimental towards my fantasy Premier League team, because I've got Cancelo, De Bruyne, and Haaland, because you wouldn't not have Haaland if you're playing fantasy team. He's like 100 and something points at the moment.
Okay, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Man United.
No, I've got no Spurs or Liverpool players, but I do have City players because
that's acceptable.
They're just broken. Obviously it's interesting to see. But we're 4 points top of the table right now. I definitely didn't think that was going to be a thing that was going to be happening
ever. The only way we'd ever be 4 points top is if we played 2 games and everyone else only ever played 1, and they all drew. That's the only way.
I'm blown away that we're doing as well as we have done, especially with the results with Tottenham and Liverpool following game after game. I feel like that's a real sign. I feel like Man United was a bit of an anomaly. I feel like the VAR situation with the Odegaard push onto was it Eriksen and then the Martinelli goal that was disallowed. I feel like it really killed the game. I think we spoke about that. But I feel like that's a bit of an anomaly when it comes to this season. I feel like if the game is allowed to play from start to finish without any sort of interference, with regards to today, I feel like there was interference with the mouth, the power cut and all of that. I felt like I got into the heads of the Arsenal players. I said that at the start. Yeah. But I feel like we can do something a little bit dirty this season. But it all depends on what we do in January. We need to do something in January.
Got a couple of questions coming up, but we'll start with this one from Sky. He says, "Can you give a starting 11 v PSV? We should play to rest some players and still have a good chance of winning on Thursday. The game is, are we home or away? I think we're home. We're home to PSV.
This is the Premier League games from Tuesday to Thursday this week. And Arsenal Man City game we would have been playing City on Wednesday, but that's being disallowed, and we'd be playing on Thursday against PSV. I think starting 11 is going to be your usual Europa League starting 11. I don't think there's going to be any change. I don't think there's going to be much that we're going to be doing differently when it comes to against PSV. I feel like we've got, regardless of I feel like we're good enough. I feel like obviously Gakpo, we need to be wary of him. But I feel like we've got enough in the bag to be able to do a result against PSV. We might see a hybrid version of what we saw against Bergkamp, where we see like a Martinelli and Saka coming and getting involved in a Xhaka late on. But we'll see what happens. But I feel like it's going to be, I don't know about you, Danny, but I feel like it's going to be just a standard Europa League with your Tierney, your Holding involved, and your Tomiyasu and stuff like that at right back, with your Lokonga involved and Vieira and Nketiah. I don't think there's going to be really any differences. I feel like Nelson once again showed that he just hasn't got it. I've been saying it for years. I feel like he just hasn't got it. We need to just let him go and move on and just and make peace with that. And we might see a resurgence of Marquinhos. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, Tomiyasu at left back. Yeah.
I think you have to look at the game that we've got after that, which is going to be, we're away to Southampton a week today. That's not really going to be an overly tough game because Southampton aren't that good of a team, and they
no.
So I think because of the situation where the winner gets through, skips around, we have to play our full strength team against PSV. And they are just looking at them in the 3 group games. They've scored 11 and conceded 2. We've scored 6 and conceded 1. Zurich have lost all 4, and Bodo, they're kind of out of it as well. And I think it's really important that we go and we do everything to make sure that we finish top of the league. If we beat them at home, then maybe we'll be able to take it a little bit easier in the away leg, and definitely we will see. I think even Cedric will get a game in the second leg against Zurich. So need to get this sorted out, tucked away, and then because they've already drawn 1 game in their group stage. Have they? Did I say that they'd drawn 1? Yeah, they did. They've drawn 1, and so that's how we're going to. I don't know.
Okay.
I've got all the fixtures up. It was they drew 1-1 at home to Bodo, which is the other decent team in the league. So, yeah, I think we'll be fine. Play full strength team, and then because we've got Southampton after, I'd rather rest a few players against Southampton, only maybe one or two, and then just put full strength out to beat PSV at home. That's what's important for me, only because it's the next round. Right, a couple of questions. Pete Colson, oh bloody, they're all from Pete. He says, we have had a few questionable decisions go for us, which never used to happen. Are we now perceived differently by the refs? I was thinking this very thing today. We have had a right stroke of luck.
I feel like it was balanced today. I feel like there was a lot of moments where Leeds got the rub of the green as did we. But I feel like it wasn't really rub of the green. I feel like it was a situation of calls that were made correctly and not against us. So not for us, but just with us. Do you know what I mean? There's obviously a difference there. I didn't feel like it was any major bias when it came to decisions for us. Yeah, today, that Gabriel situation with the handball, I feel like any other day that could have been essentially just been a penalty and there wouldn't have really been any looking. So I'm impressed to see refereeing. I feel like he started bad and ended strong, the referee. As I said, maybe his head was messed up because of the massive stall at the start of the game. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like it's balanced. I don't feel like we're in a situation where we can start talking of comparisons to Fergie time or something like that, which happened again today against us, going up to like 99 minutes. It was like, mate, just blow the fucking whistle. What is going on here? I don't think we're anywhere near that. But it's nice to see a game being called with balance more than anything else.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Just pressing some buttons. Yes, Si, there is a Sunday roast, 10 o'clock. Me and Mike is back. Patrick says a backline of Tommy, Holding, Gabby, and Tierney. I think that could well be.
Yeah, I think that's something like that. Yeah, would be what's going to happen.
Pete Colson, strong team against PSV. We need to put that top spot to bed. And Keesby says, could this be a game for Cedric? No. There's very rarely.
Is he even back? Is he fit yet?
He was wandering around on the pitch today. He was taking charge of training sessions with the under-15s, wasn't he? Which is nice, yeah. So I think
interesting. All right, well, maybe that's where he's going to be headed.
He's an Arsenal fan. He's loving his time there, and he's a fully fledged international. Played in a few countries for a few. I've got no
qualms with Cedric. I think he's a good lad.
Yes. Avon says, "What do you think of Gary Neville?" We can't really swear.
Did you see the interaction between him and Micah Richards on Sky Sports after the game?
No.
Still having Micah Richards was like, you've really got to start looking at Arsenal as a team that's really going to start competing this season. And Gary Neville was just once again just going, "Nah, mate, they're shit." Basically, I'm not saying verbatim. But he's still having a pop, and and Micah Richards is like, yeah, I know, I get it. City are a team that if they lose a couple of their star players, they've still got great backup options that they can just carry on without skipping a beat. And Arsenal don't have that right now. But you can't. But that's a hyperbole. That's something a possibility. You're just assuming Arsenal are going to have a plethora of injuries. Who knows? We might have a fluke season and everybody stays fit for all 38 games. Who knows? So you just got to play with that mindset. And Micah Richards was getting shot down today by Gary Neville. The irony is, I was having a chat in the pub last week with I think it was an ex-Liverpool fan. That was it. Yeah, an ex-Liverpool fan. He was going, "Yeah, Gary Neville, he's so biased. He hates Arsenal. Hates Liverpool." And I was like, it's probably got something to do with the fact that he's a Man United player. Probably got something to do with the fact of that, and that you've got like a heated rivalry for so many years. But I said, don't feel like it's just constantly on you. And I gave him a couple of examples, including the Brentford when he was dancing and celebrating with the Brentford fans after beating Arsenal last season. I was like, he's a twat to the majority of clubs, including us. So I wouldn't worry about it, mate. The guy's a massive bellend, and he's the guy that speaks and praises. He's like, yeah, I'm against the World Cup, but I'm going to be doing commentary for BN.
Yes.
Fake woke twat.
Petito makes a good point. We are one Haaland injury for Man City away from competing. And I say it every time, I'm a Dortmund fan. I've been a Dortmund fan since they made the champions, the European Cup final back in the late 80s, I think it was, early 90s, something like that. And I like them because they played in yellow, simple as that. And they had Continental written on their shirts. And so I've been watching Dortmund for all these years, and he always gets injured. And he always will get injured. And he will always miss a handful of games. And it may even come down to it where it's going to be he might be injured when we play them, because those home and away games, if we've got the advantage now, they've got the goal difference advantage, that's out the window. We've got 4-point advantage. We can afford to go there and draw with them home and draw with them away, or maybe even draw one and lose the other. And they're still, as long as we just keep on going the way we're going. But that's way too far in the future to talk about. Let's have another question. Here we go. Smile one from Pete. Considering he is on one booking away from a ban, should Jesus conspire to get a booking against the Saints so that he is banned for the Forest game rather than we lose risking him for the Chavs? There was talk about this getting a booking in the last minute in the last game the last league game that we played. Who was that against? I've forgotten already. Liverpool.
Yeah, I wanted him to get a last minute yellow card at the end of the Liverpool game, so he'd miss this game and then be able to just have a few more games to build up his match sharpness for the game against the Rent Boys. Chavs is way too polite of a word. Rent Boys on the 8th of November.
Yes. Sky agrees he should. And Avon says that's a plan. And Patrick says Zinny must be back soon. And there's been not too much of explanation about what he's been up to. So, yeah, he'll be back sooner or later. Maybe you might even see him in defensive midfield like he plays for the national team, which could solve a lot of our problems when Partey eventually gets injured or sent off or just goes missing. So there you go. That's 1 hour, people. Let us know what you think about the kind of newish format where we don't go through it minute by minute. We just talk about the team, talk about other things that we can think about at the time, then they pop up into our tiny little brains and we shout things. We're doing that for spurting out all nonsense.
That's words. That's me throwing up words because that's what I'm doing.
It is indeed. Right. If people want to like the cut of your jib, where can they find you if they want to come and give you some abuse online?
You can come and give me abuse here. But I say to everybody, as Danny knows, follow me at your own peril. I'm extremely political. So, Phil knows, follow me at your own peril. So that's up to you. Don't be coming to me and crying to me that I've hurt your feelings.
And that is DeaconJustifIed on the Twitters. So
Deacon Justified. People. Sorry, I forgot that people listen to this without the visuals. Not using your orbs in your face.
Yeah, most people don't watch the YouTube. It's mainly iTunes and Spotify and all those other tax dodgers. And yeah, like Loki says, thumbs up if you are new here. Feel free to give it a subscribe, and we will send you a bill for $79.99 a month for every month that you are subscribed. And we will come round and take all your pot plants. So there you go. I'm going to be back in an hour with Mike from the Gooners pod. We have missed I think the last one we did was September the 11th. Mike was busy, and then I was ill with the COVID-ings, and then no one else can do it.
I was just thinking about fucking Phone Jacker, and you just went ings. Because you were going, nah. So I was thinking about Phone Jacker, and then you just went ings. So that's very
wasted on people outside of the
UK. It's wasted. Right. If you don't know Phone Jacker or Face Jacker, it's just wasted upon you.
And if you don't know what B-Jams is, that's wasted on you as well. Iceland in this country is a store it's a freezer store where you have all frozen food and cheap food. And they were originally called B-Jam, which is why I said Iceland used to be B-Jams. But wasted on most of you. Anyway, Deac, thank you very much as always. You've been Kate is late.
Hi.
There you go. We'll end the show on that. You've been wonderful as usual. I'm now back doing all of the usual shows, I think, unless it's a really early kickoff. Some of the previews we will do the day before, because sometimes it's a bit much doing 2 or 3 shows in one day. I've got other stuff to do. I don't have anything to do. And I'm going to go and have my favourite tipple, which is a tin of mushroom soup with a tin of tuna mixed in. Obviously no oil because I'm not an animal. And microwave it, and it is an absolute delight.
That's disgusting. People are probably eating right now. It's dinner. Don't be telling them something like that disgusting. It's just ridiculous.
Don't food shame me. I just can't be bothered to cook, and I'm not getting takeout anymore. I got chili bite last night. I got chicken tikka in a pita bread and cheesy chips cost me £17 fucking 90. What the hell
are
is
you ordering right
that?
now?
Was 14 quid a few months ago.
Christ.
Absolute disgrace.
They're putting a premium on you. That's what it is.
Well, Izzy did come round, and even he was shocked at the price when he delivered
There
it.
you fucking go. It's premium on you.
Right, people, thank you very much. If you're new, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, copy this URL, add it to your email list, and send it to everybody you know. And hopefully we'll have 1 million viewers by the end of the week. We'll be back at 10 o'clock with me and Mike, and I will see you all later. Oh, what's he doing? Oh, yes, the walk and talk for men's mental health.
Hell yeah, just had to get it in there. Hayward Teeth, walk and talk. Men's mental health is important. Anyway, thanks for having me.
See you all later. Oh, I forgot I've got to go and press this button, haven't I? Near the end of the show without it. Have some Steve and Dave as an outro. That will always make us happy. Goodbye.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I've just eaten a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at it. So when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately, and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.
Never in doubt.